I run the support groups and we sit around and we talk about our disease and what happened to us, and that life must go on. But there's some of the patients at the moment that actually do talk about what they're going through right now. It is really inspiring and really brave. We just had a support meeting the other night, and some of the patients that were talking about what's going on with them, I don't know how they do it, but that's what we've got to do. And I don't know how the patients do it, but that's what I've got to do. I've got to be there to run the meetings and facilitate them and make sure everyone's supporting each other, and just that's what it's all about. Sitting there and listening to everyone's stories and sharing information that possibly could help the next patient, cope a little bit better. And sometimes when you're in a dark world, that little bit of information that you've shared at a meeting could go so far to help someone in their journey, and to think that that's a possibility of what I do for a job. And then I think that's a nice thing that I take away, that I think I can, I've contributed to their life to help them, and I think that's really important. And the thing that I do, the reason that I do what I do is because for 8 months after I was diagnosed, I didn't have much support other than my immediate family. I didn't know anything about melanoma. I didn't know any patients about. I didn't know anything about melanoma. I didn't know anyone else that had melanoma, and I was petrified. There was times where in the middle of the night I would wake up and I'd feel something and I'd think, is that melanoma? Or I'd get on the internet the night before and I'd read something, and then I'd be straight into RPA the next morning, going into the clinic. I'd get in there by 9 a.m. and I'd be straight into Penny in the melanoma clinic there, and Penny, what's this? Is this something? Blah, blah, blah. And she'd be like, Jay, no, it's nothing. Stop worrying. You'll be right. You're right. I can probably count about 5 to 10 times I did that. And it was quite scary, So for 8 months, that's why, I do what I do now, because it's really important that others can hear that, you can survive melanoma. It can be a very lonely and scary journey to be on. And that's what this walk's all about. Walking 900 kilometres, raising as much awareness as we can, and to try and raise funds for a cure for melanoma, because at the moment, as we know, there is no cure. There's only treatments that can prolong one's life. So, and if we can get into the schools and talk to the students and talk to the community, the councils, all the shop owners, the parents, and just try and raise the profile, and I think that's a really good thing, because, what we want to do is encourage people to go and get a skin check, follow the 5 sun-safe rules, and early detection and prevention, to prevent melanoma happening to them. At the moment, there's 1,500 Australians that pass away each year around Australia, and there's 12,500 Australians diagnosed each year, and we need to bring that rate down. It's a silent killer. Not many people realise how invasive melanoma can be, but they must, melanoma only needs to get to a millimetre deep and little cells break away, get into the lymphatic system or your blood system and spread around your body, and that's why getting your skin checked at least once a year is the way to go. Not telling you to stay out of the sun altogether, but just be sun smart. And I guess at the Melanoma Institute, they've got the researchers and all the doctors and the professors working around the clock, 24/7. And to keep them going, we need the funds to come in the door, because funds go to research, and research is really important, and research is what is going to bring us to find a cure for this disease. I've lost 14 friends to melanoma in 6 years. It's pretty devastating, and it is hard to not become friends with the patients, because they look at you, they look to you for guidance and help in a very scary time in their journey. And I like to think of it that I'm sort of around patients that, even though they possibly could have a couple of months left to live, I'm with them in a very precious time in their life too. So I just want to help as many people as I can, raise awareness and raise funds for melanoma, and reward all the hard workers at the Melanoma Institute Australia, because they're the ones that are going to get us the cure. So. And that's what we need, and I'm honoured to be doing this walk with Andrew. He's an inspiration to me. He's been stage 4 for a long time now, and he's defied the odds, and to walk with this guy It's what's going to get me across the line. Also, another contributing factor is what he's been through, and you know, the lymphedema that he suffers. We both suffer from it, but Andrew, you know, you do suffer from it more than me. So, you know, I think it's really inspiring to see that you're putting this walk up. I can do it. You know, you're a good bloke, mate, and I'm honoured to be your mate and a fellow survivor.